Now in British Columbia, the number is like 85%, right? Because the Pacific Ocean is just, where is it? There or there, where, right? You get it, but the rest of Canada doesn't get it. Doesn't get that our economic future is tied to China and India, the subcontinent in general. We have to do a tremendously better job than we're doing about export promotion to China and export promotion to the markets of India. One of the things we've failed to do is to use the populations of our own country, our native citizens, our fellow neighbors and brothers and sisters who speak the languages of these regions, the languages of South Asia, the languages of China, but the family connection, the entrepreneurial connections. We've never used our native-born Canadians of these Asian ancestries to build the bridge to those markets. The other thing that's clear is that Harper has, I don't know what the polite word is here, made a mess of our relations with China. I'm trying to get that higher tone, you know, I'm trying to avoid low partisanship, but under Mr. Chrétien had a personal relationship with the Chinese leadership. It didn't mean he took human rights off the table. It meant he went into the room privately, one-on-one, and raised case after case after case of human rights with the Chinese. But he didn't engage in megaphone diplomacy. He led constant efforts at trade promotion. And under the previous Liberal governments, we had a good and emerging and developing relationship with China, which the Conservative government has thrown away. But that's number one. We have to rebuild that. Number two, we've not done nearly enough to develop our relationship with the subcontinent. And we need to do much more. Consular developments. You can't fly direct to Mumbai. What are we thinking here? We haven't got anything like the relationship that we ought to have with the software industries of South Asia. There's a tremendous amount we need to do here, but the bottom line message, which I come back to, is the crisis should teach Canada we can't afford to put our economic eggs in one basket, namely the United States. We've got to develop these other markets. Our future is across the Pacific Ocean. Now, we're going to leave the rough stuff to Mr. Scott Brison.
I really resent that, leader. I just want to talk on one specific area. I know it could be coming up in terms of clean energy and environmental technology. But the economies of China and India and all these emerging economies need all the energy they can get. And they continue to grow. Even next year with the economic downturn in other parts of the world, China and India are going to continue to grow. They're building infrastructure. They need energy. And Canada can be the clean energy partner that China and India need to build their economies. And in the same way that many parts of those countries, they went from a very poor phone systems directly to cell phones, leapfrogging over landlines, we can help them go from a fairly rudimentary energy systems in some cases, and dirty energy, directly to the cleanest energy technologies in the world. And today, we were given by a group earlier today, a China Business Magazine, and right on the front, Clean Energy Bonanza, China's enormous green market. The smartest money in the world, the Vinod Khoslas and the Kleiner Perkins Cockfield buyers, the guys who invested early in the technology game 15, 20 years ago, are pouring money into clean energy and environmental technology. So we should be taking our universities across Canada and our energy sector and bringing together the three E's, energy, the economy, and the environment, and making Canada the best place in the world to research, develop, and commercialize those technologies, and making Canada the clean energy partner that the emerging economies of China and India and other economies can get the energy they need and at the same time protect the planet. That would be a source of national pride and prosperity for Canadians.
Let me take some of these infrastructure issues, first of all. I see no reason why shovels in the ground have to violate the environment. One of the things we're proudest of as Liberals is the ways in which some of the infrastructure investment we made in conjunction with the cities was for green infrastructure, environmentally sustainable infrastructure, infrastructure that improved the environment rather than degrading it. There is concern in these communities, I think, about the ways in which the Pacific Gateway infrastructure improvements may cause environmental hazard and damage. And I think I'll let Sue handle that one, except to say that I'm glad that Burns Bog has been referred to. I had an incredibly happy morning in Burns Bog with Eliza Olson and the wonderful people who say Burns Bog, and they deserve the thanks and gratitude of this whole community for the wonderful. To list three top priorities in infrastructure, I think I go back to two things I said earlier. We need to put enormous emphasis on the social infrastructure side. The forms of infrastructure that strengthen community, that strengthen our capacity to help our fellow citizens. I think we need to get beyond thinking of infrastructure as bricks and mortar. It's creating human connection and human solidarity and the capacity to help each other more effectively. That's where I put the basic infrastructure priority. The second infrastructure priority has to be to improve our capacity to become a learning society, a lifelong learning society, as Scott said earlier, but to invest in colleges, universities, everywhere where learning and knowledge and education goes on seems to be how you make the best possible use of your money for the future. Because one of the things I notice about this crisis is that it's shortening our time horizons. We're all thinking, how do we pay the mortgage next month? Are we going to have a job in 3 months? How are we going to get through 2009? Our horizons are coming down. When times are good, you look further out. And I'm trying to say as a political leader, let's push the horizon back. The future matters more than ever to us. So as we make our infrastructure choices, let's ask ourselves the question, what is the investment today that has the greatest return in 10, 15, 20 years out? And the social infrastructure investments, the learning investments are where I would